Hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to cEDH Bling Builds, where we do low effort content and feature some neat bling on some sweaty cEDH decks. Today we're going to re-review Toxrill the Corrosive here in 2023. The metagame is a lot different than when Toxrill was originally released. We're in a creature-based metagame. We're playing mid-range. Mid-range that's designed in such a way to gain value over time, sculpt hands, and kind of just play in an environment where there are a lot of rule of laws and null rods. Also, at least in my pods, people are trying not to feed Docksides and Mystic Remoras, and so you see a lot of Thrasios decks out there. So there's a lot less Turbonaws out there in the wild because it's so easy for a Turbonaws deck to just get shut down by like a single Flusterstorm, and then it's all over for them. Then they have to just try to find the Thoracle combo, Thoracle Consult, and cast that. Well, Toxrill is pretty good right now. I think Toxrill's in a really healthy spot. She's very thick at 7 CMC, but I think the time Toxrill hits the board, it's very impactful, pretty destructive on your opponents, and she could just put in her 7/7 beats pretty easily. If you didn't already know, let's have a look at Toxrill. Toxrill, I already said, is a 7 thick mama, 7/7 for 7. And at the beginning of each end step, not yours, but each end step, you put a Bukkake counter on each creature you do not control. Creatures you don't control get a -1/-1 for each Bukkake counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control with a Bukkake counter on it dies, you create a 1/1 black slug creature token. It's a little obstructed, but for Dimir, you sack a slug and draw a card. And so right off the bat, we see that Toxrill is an infinite colored mana outlet because she is a slug herself. And so if you're able to create infinite colored mana, you can draw the deck and sculpt a win from there. Let's get into the deck. Of course, on this channel, you know how we do things. We like to have both arts, all arts. Got to have all the arts that are relevant. So, though outdated, we do have the Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal engine in here. If you didn't already know, if you're able to, with a combination of your dorks and rocks, net 1 mana after paying the 2 activated ability, right? If you have a mana vault, for instance, just single mana vault, you'll be able to generate infinite colorless mana with this engine. The Dramatic Reversal will untap all dorks and rocks, including this artifact itself, and then you rinse, wash, repeat. So if you're able to net 1 mana off of that, preferably a mana of color, then you have infinite colored mana. By themselves, though, these cards, there's nothing really amazing to throw onto an Isochron Scepter by itself, and there's very little utility with a Dramatic Reversal. So on their own, they're below mid. Hullbreaker Horror in the deck, very easy to do a nice destructive Hullbreaker loop, and you can find infinite mana with that. By itself, Hullbreaker could, devastate an opponent's board state. But in this deck, we're not trying to cheat in a Hullbreaker. We're going to unfortunately have to hard cast it. There's no Entomb Reanimate in this deck, no space, no need for it. And so we hard cast a Hullbreaker, which is fine. And then we find ourselves a little loop. Hopefully that loop involves creating infinite colored mana, and then we could do our Toxrill thing. Because we're in Dimir, we have a Thoracle Consult. Too easy, too free of a combo. And with a Tainted Pact in the back pocket. Now, believe it or not, Thoracle has been around for a while. She's been around since, I don't know, I can't see it. 2021? 2020? I can't tell. It's too tiny. My eyes are getting old. But she's been around for a while. And believe it or not, a lot of people are still misplaying Tainted Pact with their console package, where if you have an amateur wannabe tryhard at your pod and they Thoracle Tainted Pact, have them play it out, because you will be surprised how bad they are when they flip like 3 swamps. So the game might not be over if you have a baby amateur at your amateur cEDH player at your table, believe it or not, because their mana base is just not adequate for the Tainted Pact. Don't forget, Tainted Pact by itself is a phenomenal tutor if you're just looking for your, if you have A in your hand, you're looking for your plus B. Now, because once we get Infinite Colored Mana online, Toxrill draws the deck, we're able to do a Narset reversal. We're able to do Time Twister loops with a Narset reversal. If you didn't already know, you cast a Time Twister holding priority, cast the Narset's reversal, the Twister will go back in your hand, Twister resolve, you shuffle up, draw your 7. And the Narset's reversal will go back into the deck. Now, from there, you know that now that you're able to draw the deck and shuffle it back, draw the deck, shuffle it back, you need something to do to close out the game, because that's not good enough. And so you'll maybe use a Swan Song, counter your own stuff with a Swan Song, making a bird. You're gonna Cyclonic Rift, you're gonna Hullbreaker the shit out of your opponents, and keep like 7 counter spells for when you eventually pass. The turn will come back to you, and you just go wide with infinite birds and close out the game. And so that's a Time Twister loop. On their own, these cards actually do something. This is like a soft counter, and a Time Twister is just a Time Twister. It's good enough for me. And because Toxrill is the infinite draw from the command zone, it's worth keeping that combo. A combo that didn't find its way into this deck, I ran it before, I hated it, is the Corvus spell, Urborg. I don't like that land, and Corvus spell is a bad stacks piece. I really don't like Urb. I think it's a bad card, especially when you still see like a lot of peers and ad nauseums from your opponents. Like, there's no reason to enable your opponents to cast these free cards, right? Let them work hard for like the triple black and the PETA and the double black and ad nos. Don't enable them. So I never liked Urborg. And then Corvus spell is stupid. It's a stupid combo. It's not worth the energy. Let's go into our creatures package. We have a Malevolent Hermit, which of course flips into Benevolent Geist. Now, the Hermit on the front side is really fine. It's fine. It could shut down an opponent just by hard casting it and keeping the blue open. And then of course the backside is like a pseudo silence, which is important when you're ready to combo off. I got new sleeves, by the way. So finally, right? Finally, Tuna got new sleeves. We have the Opposition Agent. Some hate bears here. An Opposition Agent. A Gilded Drake. A Notion Thief. Notion Thief is very strong. I've been running this deck for in real life for like the last couple of weeks. And the Notion Thief is like a win condition, right? A Notion Thief and a wheel usually results in like a concession. You don't have to continue from there. So there was like this huge battle at a pod I was playing recently to not let the Notion Thief stick around. I think they saw that I was about to wheel because I mystical tutored for Time Twister, and with the Notion Thief on board, and so there was this huge battle to try to pop the Notion Thief. I think I chain of vapored my own Notion Thief, and then was able to just flash back in and do the combo, and it was a win from there. It doesn't matter even if your opponents don't concede, because you're gonna find like 27 cards. You're gonna be able to find a win. And by itself is good, especially if like Thrasios and things like that on the battlefield. Yeah. Left for Mastermind, believe it or not, I know it's an amazing card. I haven't seen one in play in any of my pods. Everyone has it in their decks, but just no one is able to get the Mastermind out on board. It's like a cursed card or something. But yeah, Mastermind. Ledger Shredder currently is not as strong as we all would like it to be. The game slowed down tremendously. The metagame has shifted to like a more like just playing a card pass, play one card pass. So no one's really, you don't see it as often as you would like, the more than one spell per turn. But Ledger Shredder is still strong enough, in my opinion. It's not worth for me to cut it yet. So it's a meta call. It's definitely a meta call. Same thing with the Voidwalker. Voidwalker is a little bit of a meta call right now. The things that I see people are doing are kind of just like Court of Calling, Neoforming, and that's about it. Those are like the strongest cards in their decks. Not so much like maybe I could snatch a tutor or something, but Dauthi Voidwalker I think right now is another meta call. Not as strong right now. It's still a really strong card, just not these two not as strong right now. So I had a flex slot. I didn't know what to put, so I wound up putting a Phantasmal Image. Maybe I could copy someone's Dockside and cast Toxrill a little bit more early, but really it could have been anything. I did try, let me find it, hold on one second. I did try a Sludge Monster, right, as like some weird tech, but I ran into some issues with the Sludge Monster. So Sludge Monster is very cute. It has the ability to just blank your opponent's creatures, which is nice, but the problem is it turns it into a 2/2. So all these dorks now, they didn't immediately die at the end step. In conjunction with Toxrill. And so I didn't get that immediate, end step value from Toxrill because there were 2/2s. And so that's, realistically, that's a lot of time for an opponent to just get rid of your Toxrill. And now all those things she could have ate and turned into slugs, you just don't get that value, because they're 2/2s and not 1/1s or 2/1s. And so Sludge Monster didn't make the cut for me. I'm still struggling to find my 100th card. Another thing I noticed, especially when you go onto like Reddit, casuals be casual sometimes. These thick boy creatures, these 7 CMC plus creatures, right? 6 CMC plus creatures, Ovika, Toxrill, Marnius. They'll see it has like this ability to do a thing with a thing. But these idiots will jam 99 fucking cards in their deck that do that thing that synergizes with a commander. But that's really stupid, because you're not guaranteed to have your commander stick around. They might stick and then die. And what, you're going to pay 9 CMC, right? That's a lot. So they have like these, anime fantasies that their shit's gonna land and do all this work, And in reality, that's not the case. In this particular deck, if my Toxrill lands, that's fine. If she dies, I'm probably not going to recast her unless I'm going, unless I find a combo. But she's going to land, do her thing, get in beats. But if she dies, she dies, and that's that. If she gets countered, that's that. But yeah, Sludge Monster, just because it creates like 2/2s from these 1/1 dorks that I just blanked, it's just not worth it because a lot can happen before those creatures actually die. But Phantasmal Image, we'll see how it works out. Yeah, it's just like that's the ceiling. Copying a Dockside. Maybe I could copy like an annoying pesky commander or something. I don't know. It's a weird flex slot. This card right here. There's no like demonic tutor. I know you could say like, oh, tutor, you could use maybe a diabolic intent. Sorry, diabolic intent. Sack a slug and do a thing. Right, get a combo piece. You're not guaranteed to get those free slugs because you're not guaranteed to have Toxrill stick around, and my creature count is pretty low. So, I thought about intuition, but I don't have any intuition piles in here. I thought about Doomsday. I thought about a lot of things. I even put a Laboratory Maniac, but he's just pretty much a 3 CMC vanilla creature in this deck, believe it or not. If I can't guarantee to land a Toxrill, it's like an alt win con. I find the infinite mana, land a Toxrill, draw the deck, and land man for game. I didn't like it, but we'll see. Follow the Moxfield link in the description to see what I inevitably put in that card slot. We have Imperial Seal, right? Our tutors package, very standard stuff. Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Mystical Tutor, a Limdol's Vault. Muddled Mixture, I use it more like a tutor. Plenty of 2 CMCs in here that help me close out the game. But of course, if the opportunity comes, you need to use it as a counter, by all means, right? A Merchant Scroll, a handful of blue instants I would like to find. We're in a ISO-Rev deck, so you kind of have to have like a Merchant Scroll. Another tutor, we have Praetor's Grasp. Phenomenal card. Grab the other half of your combo from your opponent, or take an opponent off of their combo. Things like that. Plenty to do with Praetor's Grasp. Very, very strong card. Don't sleep on it. A Yogg Will, just to recur some things that we lost. Not a big deal. Get back Lost Oracle. Little things like that. Believe it or not, even though this card is like 400 years old, I still see idiots casting Yogg Will and trying to do graveyard loops under Yogg Will. And their opponents just sit there with their fucking finger in their ass and let it slide. Don't do that. A Rituals package, even though I talked about that cock-a-doodoo earlier about how Adnoz is kind of dead, we're in a Dimir deck. We have no choice but to be like a Turbo Noz deck. If I was in red, maybe I would drop the Ad Nauseam. If I was in green, I would drop the Ad Nauseam. But we have a Rituals package because it also helps us to get the Toxrill out a little bit faster. So we have a Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Call in the Week. Not too much I would want to call either. So that's weird. So it's a weird card, Call in the Week. What am I going to call my opposition agent that's holding down the fort? So, Reign of Filth, very sweet card. Our counters package, if you follow these videos, you'll know in 2023 I'm tinkering with a new counterspell, not a new counterspell, but I'm tinkering with some tech, and it's actually working out well. Dispel, Flush the Storm, and Offer. Swan Song, Delay, Mana Drain, Mental Misstep, Fierce Guardianship, Force of Negation, Mind Break Trap, Pact of Negation, Force of Will, and a Disrupting Shoal. I'm really, really on Disruption Shoal right now. It's pretty much a free counter spell in the low blue decks, low blue color decks. So if you're like in 1-2 color blue deck, I really, really like Disrupting Shoal. I think it's pretty strong. I've been catching a lot of, I've been getting a lot of value with my Disruption Shoal. So maybe you give it a chance too. Only in low, don't be ridiculous and run like a 4-color deck. It's not going to work out well. But in a low color blue deck, it's a mint. Some soft counters here. And removal, we have March of Swirling Mist. And because I don't want to lose my Toxrill, we have a Slip Out the Back. Doubles as a single spot removal for when you're ready to combo off. You got to get rid of that annoying Hate Bear. The rest of our removal package, we have a Resculpt, Deadly Rollick. Toxic Deluge is back. It's back from a long hiatus, but it's finally back. We're in a creature-based metagame right now, and so Toxic Deluge is back, and it's very, very strong. Very, very strong. It's back. Chain of Vapor, Alchemist's Retrieval. Not as amazing in this deck. I don't have a Dockside to like loop or to double. Maybe I take out the retreat. Maybe I take out the Retrieval and the Phantasmal Image and put a Pongify and a Rapid Hybridization. I don't know. But it does bounce like a permanent, so very, very strong when I have to bounce back like an opponent's Rule of Law when I'm ready to combo off. Psych Rift. And then the draw package we saw earlier, the Time Twister. We have the Ad Nauseam, the Appearance of the Abyss, and a Windfall. I swapped out my Iconic Masters Windfall for this 30th anniversary one. I just like the art better. This is the Windfall that we all know and love. The rest of the deck, we have our enchantments. We have a Rhystic Study. Stay tuned. I'm going to upgrade this Rhystic Study soon to the Prophecy. We have a Mystic Remora. Dress down, low creature count. Dress down, a lot of value. Catch motherfuckers, pop, dress down them, and then turn comes back to me, and I close it out. Necropotence, really strong. If you land the Necropotence, then you're going to win. If you cast the Necropotence, they're going to use their strongest piece of, they're going to use their strongest card to get rid of the Necropotence because it's that threatening. I say no with the Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam is one of those cards, it's going to eat the strongest utility from your opponent. And then wrapping things up with our artifacts, we have Wishclaw Talisman. A friend of mine, shout out to Julian, makes a really strong Wishclaw play. He's such a troll. He'll Wishclaw and a Wishclaw for an opposition agent, pass it to the guy. That guy will then try to Wishclaw. And he'll just flash in the opposition agent. And maybe take their opposition agent. So now he'll have one opposition on board, one live, one on standby. Lotus Petal, Jewel Lotus. Talisman of Dominance, Arcane Signet, Fell Warstone, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Mox Diamond. I have an Everflowing Chalice in here. The card is straight doo-doo, but we are in a Hullbreaker combo deck, so it just one additional card to help enable a Hullbreaker combo. Maybe that flex slot, I'll put a Astral Cornucopia, but that card is extreme doo-doo. So that's how it goes. Grim Monolith, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, and a Mana Crypt. And then our lands package. Pretty standard stuff, I think. We have all 7 fetches. We have 1 island. Take note, Thoracle Tainted Pack, us noobs. We have 1 island and 1 snow-covered island. See the variance? We have 1 swamp and 1 snow-covered swamp. We don't have 3 swamps, 3 islands. We have a watery, we have our shock, and we have our duel. We have an underground river that I want to upgrade, I think. I don't know. Wizards, we're still waiting on the rest of the Horizon lands. Give it to me. Give me, give me, give me, give me. We have a Morphic Pool. For utility, we have an Otawada. And to go a little bit faster, we have an Ancient Tomb, a Phyrexian Tower, a Crystal Vein, and a City of Traders to just help shit out the Toxrill just a little bit faster. For our Rainbow lands, we have a Gemstone Cavern, Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Forbidden Orchard, which is really strong with Toxrill, right? That's free slugs, baby. That's free, unless you have a sludge monster. That's two end phase free slugs. Spire of Industry, Mana Confluence, and a City of Brass. Psych, there's one last card. There's the Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls, it's very important that your Toxrill sticks. So you're going to call Horror, Horror, Horror. I know Hullbreaker is already uncounterable, but Toxrill's Horror. And then if you want to tech the Sludge Monster, I don't recommend it, but that's also a Horror. And if you land it later, call Wizard for your uncounterable Thassa's Oracle. And there you have it, ladies and slugs. We have our Toxrill, the Corrosive in 2023. A lot of you guys are always interested in the sleeves. This is from a brand called Mana Moon. I really do recommend that you subscribe to her newsletter because her drops are limited. Her deck boxes, her sleeves are limited, and when they're gone, I do believe that they are gone forever. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm not around as much anymore. I have a baby, guys, so maybe I cash in the collection. Who knows? Till next time, ta-ta.